Sean McCabe. Welcome to the show. Hey guys, and welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, expert speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, with as little as 15 hours, also known as the Authority Acceleration Program. Now on today's show, Hot Seat Coaching Thursday, I don't know what day of the week it is. I don't have a scheduled guest. However, I'm going to introduce to you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint and how you can attract more clients willing to hire you than you can handle, and how you can do this in as little as 15 hours. Now, I understand the desired outcome of many entrepreneurs, and that outcome is freedom, options, and choices. Freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, and not have to worry about time, money, and the ability to select the options and choices. So you have the ability to select the options and the choices you want, actually. Now, achieving that outcome usually comes in stages. And one of the very first stages of creating freedom, options, and choices in your life is to build and grow your business to where you have clients lined up to work with you and who are willing to pay you just about any price you're asking. Now, it also gets to the point where you you want to have the financial resources you need to create and leverage your business. Now, leveraging others' time by hiring the right people to handle different aspects of the business, leverage the money that you earn by having that money to invest in either expansion or to invest in alternative sources of income to further grow your wealth and your legacy. So if your desired outcome is for you is your freedom, it all starts with attracting more clients than you can physically handle yourself right now. And that happens when you accelerate your authority. Now today I'm going to walk through the blueprint to making that happen with as little as 15 hours of your invested time. Now I'll be transparent with the 15 hours. You're going to need to have a team or outsourcers in place to do a variety of the tasks for you. Let's face it, you shouldn't be spending a lot of your time on these specific tasks anyway. They're tasks that you can outsource for a lot less money than your value or what it is you could be earning, your earning potential. So if you don't have access to all the resources, all the outsourcers, then I may just know where you can get some assistance, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end of the show. So before we get started, I just want to acknowledge anybody that's on the show, and I definitely want to get you to like, share, love this video, and we're going to get into what it takes to increase the number of clients that you're looking to that are looking to work with you, as well as pay whatever price that whatever your fee is. So just as we're getting started, I just want to acknowledge Chris Miller joined us, Giselle Gocher, Doris Fortin is on. Hey guys, how you doing? If you would like to leave a comment, a little question, anything I can do to answer your questions throughout the presentation, definitely I'll help you out. Definitely leave some likes, love, share this broadcast with your friends and in your news feed. So we're just going to dive right in. I've got a lot of information to cover today, and hopefully I can get through it all within the 1 hour time frame. So most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, now choices and options, which starts with attracting more clients than you can physically handle yourself right now. That's what happens when you accelerate your authority. So here's one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. Now, before we get into the aspects of the formula itself, it's very important to lay out the groundwork so that the work that you do is hyper-focused on your ideal target market and the message really resonates with them. So the first thing that we need to do is determine who your avatar is, which is really getting crystal clear on who your ideal target market is. Now, when it comes to marketing, the most effective marketing is done by the people who know their target audience or know their ideal target market extremely well, and they're able to create marketing messages and ads that speak directly to their audience, so much so that every time they do so, they're able to get a large majority of their audience to take action. So first off, one thing you want to know is who your target market is not. Now that's just as important, knowing who your target market is not, as it is to know who your target market is. So being able to eliminate as many different characteristics as possible that your ideal target market is not. For example, if you're a retailer selling women's clothes for professionals or executives, generally you can eliminate all the men from your demographic. Generally you're going to eliminate people, let's say, under 25 years of age or maybe over 65 years of age. You're going to eliminate people who work in a blue collar environment, a blue collar job, or maybe service workers. So a lot of those people won't be in your target audience. So it's very important for you to get crystal clear on, just as clear on who your target market is not, as it is to determine who your target market is. Now the second thing you need to do is describe your ideal target market. Now imagine that you're describing the person to somebody, so that if that person actually goes into a crowd of people, they're able to generally select people that would fall in your ideal target market demographic. So some of the things that you want to get clear on or understand is, how old is your ideal target market? What gender are they? There are products and services that work for both genders, but if it's gender specific, you need to be very clear on that. What type of work do they do? Are they in a service industry, or is your product or service directly focused on people, let's say, in the oil service industry? So you want to get very clear of what type of work they do. Or in the previous example, when we were talking about the women's professional clothing, that's going to target people who are the ladies who are actually working in executive type jobs. You also want to get clear on where do they live. So are you targeting people right across the country, right across the continent, or right across the world? Or are you narrowing it down, being very niche and just targeting people in a very specific area in the city that you live in? Now, are these people married or single? Do they have kids or no kids? And what are their interests or hobbies or pastimes? Are they into sports? If they are, what type of sports? Are they into the arts? If so, what type of arts? Do they enjoy outdoors, hunting, camping, fishing? So understanding their interests, their hobbies, and pastime can be very helpful when you're crafting messages and you're delivering content out there, because then you can talk about these things and it's going to resonate with your audience. Now, also, you want to know if these people belong to any groups or associations, and what makes them angry or happy, or what makes them laugh. So those are some key points that you can get into to really determine who your ideal target market is and some of the demographic information about them. Now, the third thing is you're going to need to know what the values are they're looking for on a regular basis. So what do they value the most? What will resonate with their belief system or their interests? You want to understand these things so that when you create your marketing material, you incorporate these things into your message so that you can connect with them on a much deeper level. And some of the things that you could be looking at are, are they looking for things that are affordable, or are they looking for higher quality things? Do they like the general stuff, or they want stuff that's very exclusive? Is it all about the prestige or the brand, or they're happy with just generic? Are they interested in the eco or environmental impact of things? Do they care what other people think, or their social acceptance? Is material wealth important to them? What about their health and fitness? Are they interested in fame or recognition, or are they interested in their privacy or anonymity? Another thing for privacy is confidentiality. Are they spiritual, or is it religion-based? Are they a contributor? Do they give back on a regular basis? So these are some things that you really want to get clear on, and try to come up with as many values of your ideal target market as you can. The clearer picture that you have of your ideal target market, the clearer it's going to become when you're creating your marketing message, and you're going to do a better job of attracting your ideal target market. So that's the first item is creating your avatar and getting very clear of your ideal target market. Now, if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, choices, and options. Now, which starts with attracting more clients than they can physically handle right now in their business. That's what happens when you accelerate your authority. So here's one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. The second thing that you need to get crystal clear on is understanding your avatar's pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions. Now, it's important to know what their problems, their challenges, or their desires are of your ideal target market, and how your product or service solves those challenges, problems, or their desires. Now think of your business as a problem solver, because all businesses are really problem solvers. What problem does your product or service solve for your ideal target market? Now this is where a lot of businesses go wrong, and they don't take the time to truly understand their avatar, those challenges that they have, and really how their solution will actually overcome or fix those problems or the challenges of their ideal target market, of their avatar. Now, the fastest way that to understand your ideal target market is really to survey people and find out the answers to some of the questions. I'm just going to list a few questions here. So you want to really find out what the answers to these questions are, and that will really help you understand who your ideal target market is and what their pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions are. So the very first thing you want to know is, what is the biggest number one fear that they have when it comes to your industry or your profession? So fear is the most powerful emotion and ultimately drives many of the decisions that are made today, many of the purchasing decisions. Now you can really uncover the real motivation when you get down to what is their biggest fear. So that's one thing that you really want to know, and by putting that in a survey and getting sort of 1, 2, 3 word answers can be vitally important to truly understanding your ideal target market and your avatar. Now, the second thing is, what is the biggest number one frustration that you have with basically an industry or a product or a service? Now, that advises you of the unmet need they have with the current products or solutions that they've actually tried in the past. So basically, frustration equals an emotional trigger. So whatever this answer is sort of the missing component in what's out there right now. So if there's a common theme amongst a lot of the people that are filling in the survey, if a lot of them are coming up with the same sort of comment or the same frustration, then you know that in your messaging that you're going to want to address that frustration, and you're going to want to make sure that your solution also addresses their biggest frustration. So if their frustration is lack of customer service, then you need to make sure that the solution that you offer comes with a customer service plan that's going to meet or exceed their expectations. Now, the third thing is, what is happening? The third question that you want to ask on your survey is, what is happening as a result of the previous problem or frustration? Now, this will help you recognize any negative implications that are out there. It helps frame the need for a solution, and really what it does is it connects the emotion to the problem. So asking that question, what is happening as a result of this problem or frustration? So surveying them and asking and getting clear on that, because a lot of people will say, well, they're not taking action, or they're not buying it, or they're not moving forward. So you know that you can utilize that in your messaging when you're crafting your marketing message to your ideal target market. You can use that to help them make the buying decision, because they're not going to have that same struggle when they're using your solution or buying your product or whatever it is. Now, the fourth question to survey these people to find out what their pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions of your ideal target market is, what have you tried so far that hasn't worked? So you're probably not going to be the first person that the first business that they've tried, the first person that they've come to, the first solution that they've had. So they've obviously, in most cases, sometimes you will be the first, but in most cases, you won't be the first solution that they've actually tried. So you can use these words when you're also framing your marketing material. So you can say things like, well, if you're anything like me, blah, blah, blah. And then you can talk about the things that you have tried in the past that haven't worked for you. So if you're anything like me, I've tried product X and it did not do this, that, or that. And so that's one of the main reasons why I came up with this solution to solve those problems. So you can use things like that in your copy to let them know sort of how you feel, that you felt the same way, but now you found a solution. So the feel, felt, found is very powerful when it comes to copywriting. So understanding what they've tried so far that hasn't worked and incorporating that into the feel, felt, found copywriting solution can definitely help out when it comes to attracting your ideal target market. Now, the fifth question you should be surveying people is, if you could wish for the ideal solution, what would it be? Now, most people have an ideal solution in their mind that they wish they could find, or they already have the answer. They just like, oh, I wish that somebody offered this instead of that. So getting them to tell you what the ideal solution would be, because that is vital information that you can use in putting together your products and services, making sure that your product or service includes that solution, if that solution is a common theme amongst everybody. Because if it's, you survey 200 people and one person is looking for something that is just unrealistic and the other 199 people aren't looking for that same thing, then there's really no sense in including it. But if you get a lot of people looking for the same solution, that they wish their solution had this or did this or solved this problem, then there's a good chance that you'd want to use that information in your product or service and use that in your copywriting moving forward to help you attract your ideal target market. So that's the fifth question that you want to ask in your survey. Now, the sixth and final question that I have for you is, what is the single biggest question that you have right now when it comes to blank? And blank is your industry, or blank is your product, or blank is your service. So what is the single biggest question that they have right now when it comes to that? Now, what this does, it identifies the information that they currently hold as the highest value. So it's something that they have a lot of value in. They want to know this right now. So it's sort of top of the mind. So if knowing what's in the top of their mind, if you can create messaging to something that is in the top of their mind, it's going to resonate with them. They're very quickly going to take a look at your information and then go through it. And as long as you've addressed the pains, fears, frustrations, ambitions, you have the ideal solution that they're looking for, then there's a good chance that you can move them to take action. Now, you can also use these questions to create a powerful list of questions in your marketing so that you can use this list as sort of a key part of your packaging and promoting strategies. Now, I talked about that all the way through, how to use this information with respect to your copywriting. It's some powerful stuff. So doing the surveys and getting crystal clear on the pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions of your ideal target market is very crucial when it comes to accelerating your authority, because how you write your copy, the information, the marketing material that you create, you want it to resonate with your ideal target market. So it's very powerful when you get a clear picture of who they are and you truly understand them, so that your message is going to resonate with them. Now, another thing you can do is to research Google or Amazon search terms and phrases around your product or service to see what people are actually searching for today. Now, it's going to give you some great insight into some keyword strategies that you can use in your marketing material, on your website, in your messaging, that's really going to resonate with your audience, as there's so many of them using very specific keywords and phrases when they're actually searching for the solution to their problem in, say, Google, for example. Now you're going to want to use a combination of both the keywords from your keyword research and the information from your survey results when you're crafting your marketing messages. Okay, so that is getting crystal clear on your avatars, pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions. So just before I move on, I just want to give some shout outs to some people that have joined me. So we have Doris was, I originally gave a shout out to Doris. Tony LeBlanc's on. Hi Tony, how are things? Veronica, hope you're doing well. Irwin's on, and Jimmy J. So thanks for joining us. And if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, choices, and options. Now all that really starts with attracting more clients than they can physically handle right now in their business. That's what happens when you truly accelerate your authority. So one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours is your story. Now, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Now, creating your hook or your story is as much about your why as it is your what. Now, you want to create your own personal narrative as if you're telling a story to the one. And that one is your ideal target market, your ideal client. You actually can name them, give them a name. So it's as if you're creating your story and your narrative and talking to that one person who is your, as I mentioned, your ideal target market or your avatar. Now, one way to do that is really by being authentic, being genuine, and really just being real. Be authentic means that you're willing to really be transparent to others. You're willing to show some vulnerability. Now, it's a very powerful tool for communication. People see that you're not really perfect, that they can relate to you more. And because people really still hide their vulnerabilities. I know I do. Now, I failed at so many different things. And a lot of the stuff I don't really talk to people about, or I don't make public because, I don't like to be seen as a failure, even though I know I'm not a failure. I just failed at certain things. I only want people to see my successes. But really, people will resonate with you better when you actually talk about your failures and the things that you've actually learned from it, and then how you can transition that into helping other people. Now, in reality, I'd probably attract more people if I was a lot more transparent with my failures. I try not to hide it much any longer. In some of the previous episodes, I actually talked about a lot of the failures in my past that I've had that people actually didn't know about. Like I said, the failures don't mean that I'm a failure. It just means that I haven't found the right solution yet. I'm like that Thomas Edison, right? He tried 10,000 times before he got the light bulb, right? So I'm just, putting in my time and doing the things that I'm learning and adjusting and making changes to before I find the right method for either the delivery or the audience. So, I'm still working on my craft. I'm still doing things to overcome any failures that I've had in my past, but being transparent with it. There's one thing that I really know, that every time I don't succeed at what I'm doing, and this is the same for a lot of people, when they don't succeed at what they're doing or trying right now, they'll actually, if they learn from it and they make the adjustments to move forward, then they're going to eventually get the success that they want. For example, early in the 2000s, I started personal training and online nutritional consulting service by partnering with some trainers and my coaches at the time. I didn't do a very good job at negotiating a good deal and partnering, even though I owned 70% of the company. I had an agreement where they took 70% of the money, basically because we were using their name and a lot of their dieting ideas. Then I got my girlfriend involved, who wanted to be paid a salary, even though she wasn't bringing in any money. So these were just some of the really bad choices that I made. So basically, after splitting with my partner, splitting with my girlfriend, and because I was working as a business consultant full-time, I just shut things down. So, that's just an example of one of the failures that I had in the past. And even in my current real estate business, I've made bad partner choices on 2 separate occasions. And it's cost me a great deal of future revenue because of either the structure of the companies, or I'm too nice or too giving or too trusting. So you just learn from it, you move forward, you just try not to make the same mistakes again. So you can see I'm human, I'm not perfect, and I don't always make the right decision. So I think that is the same for a lot of people. So if people are aware of that you you had some challenges, you know how they feel, you felt the same way when you were in their situation, but lo and behold, you found the solution that works, and it can work for them too. So as I previously mentioned, that feel, felt, found, those three words, when you use them in copywriting, I've come to learn from Frank Kearns that they're very powerful. So if you can use those and put those in your copywriting, talking about some of the challenges you've had, some of your vulnerabilities, it'll go a long way to getting your ideal client to know you, to like you, and to truly to trust you. So just be open to talking about these things like this that happened in your life. It just makes it easier for your audience to relate to you, and it communicates your honesty and your trust that much better. So that is one of the 7 key components to that you deliver on when you accelerate your authority is really your story. People, like I said, people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. And so if you guys are just joining me, I'm sharing with you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, of choices, and of options, which really starts with attracting more clients than you can physically handle yourself right now in your business. Now, that's what happens when you accelerate your authority. So here's just one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. And that is creating your offer and your pitch. Knowing what your offer and your pitch is very important. So we're just doing a quick Facebook check here. And creating your offer and your pitch is very important. It's crucial to have the destination in mind before you actually venture down the road to accelerating your authority, because you want to have the end in mind. You want to have a clear picture of the goal, a clear picture of the outcome, a clear picture of what it is that you want your ideal target market, the action you want to take, the service you're going to deliver, what it is that you're trying to achieve. So you want to have that, and you want to map that out, that path out, to have the greatest impact and lead people to the conclusion that they need to work with you, and they need to buy your stuff or use your services. Now, you want to inspire people to act without coming across as pushy or salesy. So it's very important to understand your offer, the offer process, the objections that people have regarding your product or service in advance, so that you can create content that speaks directly to your ideal target market about their desired outcome on a continuous basis, and you outline the delivery method for achieving that desired outcome, and you've addressed many of the objections that come along with it, that come up with respect to either your product or your service. So by being conscious of this information and crafting your content with a very clear execution strategy in mind, you can be consistently and persistently communicating who it is that you can help, how you can help them, and overcome their objections on a regular basis. You can do all of this without ever coming across as salesy and pushy, as I mentioned before. So it's really important to understand what their pain, fear, frustration, or ambition is of the ideal target market that they're trying to solve. What is their desired result that they want to have as a result of the solution that they're looking for? So that's very important. What is the desired result that they want to have as a result of the solution that they're searching for? Now, you definitely need to understand the benefits your ideal target market is going to receive as a result of using your product or service, not the features that they get. A lot of people talk about the features. People don't care about the features. People care about what's in it for them. What is their desired outcome? They want a specific outcome. What are the benefits they're going to receive by using your product or service, and how's it going to get them to their outcome? They don't care that it's delivered in this fashion or this format. They really care about, it's going to make me skinnier. It's going to make me prettier. I'm going to have better skin. I'm going to look amazing. So they care about the outcome, but they also care about the benefits that they're going to receive on their way to achieving the outcome. So it's going to save them time so that they have, here's some examples, some more examples. So it's going to save them time so that they have more time with their family. So that's a benefit. That could be a benefit of their desired outcome. So maybe your solution saves them time. So it's going to save them time so they have more time to spend with their family. So that's a benefit. It's going to make them more money so that they can take their family on that month-long vacation or buy that new car. That's a benefit of using the solution. Okay, the next one is it's going to position them as the authority so that clients come to them instead of having to chase clients. That's a benefit of the solution that they're searching for. Remember that they have their desired outcome, but these are just benefits of using the solution along the way. So focus on the desired outcome that they're going to receive, not on the product or the service delivery. People buy the hole, not the drill. I know that a lot of people have heard that a million times, but it's people buy the hole, not the drill. People don't need to know that it's a Black & Decker, it's a 12 amp, and you get 16 bits with it, and that they really don't care. All they know is they need a hole. They need a hole drilled, and so they just want that desired result, that desired outcome. So they don't care what the tool is. They want the best tool for the job that's going to get them that hole. So they go out and buy the drill that gets them the hole. So when you're putting together your offer and your pitch, some things that you want to consider: what is the main service delivery for the desired outcome? So you need to understand the delivery model as well. Putting together some bonuses, what makes it desirable to your ideal target market to want your main product or your service. There should only be a few bonuses, maybe 2 or 3 of them. They need to be very tightly related to the main product or service. So when you're delivering your offer, it needs to be very crystal clear, and it needs to be, work in conjunction or be tightly aligned with the main product or service. And the last thing is you want to put limits on it. And there's typically 2 types of limits to an offer. There's a time limit or a quantity limit. So it's only going to be available to the first 10 people, and the offer goes away on Saturday. Those are typically the types of limits that we see on specific offers. So when they're planning for their events. So just to recap, so one of the key components that you can use in helping deliver and accelerating your authority for the blueprint is knowing and creating your offer and pitch before you even start down the path. So it's very important to get crystal clear. So I'm just going to sort of funnel to recap back. So we talked about who is your avatar, what are their pains, fears, frustrations, or ambitions, and getting crystal clear on sort of what it is, what your end goal is. So what is your end offer? What is your end pitch? Knowing all of this information prior to actually getting into the meat of the authority acceleration formula is very important. It's like laying the groundwork. It's laying the foundation. So just before I move on to the next component, I just want to address a couple people in the Facebook crowd. Winnie Anderson joined me. Hey, Winnie, thanks for joining me. Duncan Binney from across the pond. Gail Turner Brown joined. Gail says hi. Hi, Gail. And Winnie says, ultimately, they want pretty pictures on the wall, so they love their house. Pretty much. So if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, choices, and options, which really starts with attracting more clients than they can physically handle themselves in their business right now. Now, that's what happens when you accelerate your authority. So here's one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. So the next thing is creating your content. Now, this really is where the authority acceleration formula starts. here's the first component first component is for you to actually create at least 1 hour of content per week. So the authority acceleration formula itself goes like this: for every 1 hour of content you create, you need to spend 10 hours of distribution and engagement for that 1 hour of content, and you need to do that consistently, persistently for 100 days. So I'll recap. For every 1 hour of content you create, so if you do 1 hour of content creation per week, so you spend 1 hour to do a video, you need to spend 10 hours that week distributing and engaging with your audience on that content, and you need to do that consistently, persistently over a 100-day time frame. So creating your content, this is really, like I said, it's where your authority acceleration really gets started. Now, when it comes to creating your content, it's best if you have a game plan or a blueprint in mind, and that's really what this is all about. What this authority acceleration formula or the program blueprint is all about is we're laying the foundation. Now we're going to map out the blueprint by creating some content. Now I'm going to discuss 5 different strategies that you can utilize when it comes to crafting your content blueprint that's going to help educate your ideal target market, get them to know you, like you, and trust you, and bring them to the decision that they need to work with you or to buy your product or to use your service, whatever it is. Now, it's very important when you're creating your content that you always have the ideal target market in mind, along with their pains, fears, frustrations, and ambitions, and be very clear on any phrases, wording that resonates with them. You also want to make sure that you're crystal clear on their desired outcome, and always speak to their desired outcome and the benefits as well. That should always be present in a lot of the content that you create. So if you're doing it longer videos, so for example, I do these 1 hour shows, which is considered a longer video. I'm doing these 5 days a week. You might notice that every time I come up to a new component, I'm addressing the audience again, and I'm doing that purposefully because what I'm doing is I'm consciously creating spaces where the video can be cut and used as individual clips. So I have 7 components, so there's going to be 7 distinctive clips where I just basically talk about one component per clip. And if you want to get the other components, you need to go here. There'll be calls to action to take people to a certain place where they can see the rest of the story, the rest of the components. So I recommend you create at least 1 hour of video content each and every week. So I know that there's 100+ objections as to about you doing video, being on video. I'm not fit enough. I don't think I'm good looking enough. I don't know what to say. I know how you feel, because when I got started, I had many of the same doubts in my mind that you have right now. But what I found is no one really cares about how I look, the quality of the video as much. They're more concerned with the message that you are actually delivering. So coming up with the content to talk about on camera is much easier than you think. So I don't know if you just noticed what I did there. I incorporated something from a previous component. I did the feel, felt, found, because I know how you feel. I felt the same way when I got started, but here's what I found. So I just helped overcome that objection. So at least, like I said, creating your content, try to do 1 hour of video. It doesn't have to be 1 hour all in one segment. You can do 4 15-minute pieces, whatever works for you. Now, the main reason I'm saying when you're creating your content to use video is going to come crystal clear when I talk about the next component. So when I talk about repurposing, the reason for the video is going to become crystal clear. So as I mentioned, there's five different methods that I'm using right now to creating content. So 5 different strategies to creating content. And those include, number 1, the 10 most frequently asked questions. Now, in your business, you'll undoubtedly get to ask the same questions over and over again. Now, I was taught this strategy, and I know a lot of my colleagues were taught this strategy by one of our marketing coaches, Mike Koenigs, many years ago. Create a series of videos that answer the 10 most frequently asked questions, as there's a good chance that the prospect that you haven't met yet may have the same questions, and they may be searching for the answers to those questions online. So being able to frame how your product or service answers those questions is key to helping them understand how you can help them. Now, the most powerful thing you can do is to incorporate stories into your answers when you're answering these questions, because people really like to hear actual real life stories or stories of transformation, people just like them. So that's one of the things that you can do, is the 10 frequently asked questions. Now, the second thing you can do is the 10 should ask questions, which we also learned from Mike Koenigs. Is very much like the frequently asked questions. These are the questions that many of your customers are not asking, but they should ask. These would be the same questions that you might ask if you were going to a competitor to evaluate their product or service, to find out if they really know what they're doing, or if their product or service offering is similar to yours, or if they maybe shortcut areas, if they're offering the same level of service. These are very specific questions. They're kind of like the insider questions to really find out if the person knows what they're doing. So you position these questions, like I said, as if it's insider knowledge or stuff that nobody knows. Only the insiders know about this stuff, and you can really use it to differentiate yourself from the competition. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to talk about yourself or your business. You talk about what the ideal client should be asking when they're shopping around for a solution. Oh, and of course, the answers to the questions just happen to be your answers should they ever ask you those questions, or they come into your shop, or whatever. Your answers are the actual answers to the questions of the things that they should be asking. So giving these should ask questions is kind of like the insider knowledge. It can be very powerful from the ideal target market's perspective when they're searching out solutions to the problem that they have, or whatever problem they're trying to overcome, and they're looking for solutions. This type of content, these types of videos can be very powerful in attracting your ideal target market to want to connect with you, to take that action, to do business with you. Now, the third thing you can do for creating content is the benefits to the ideal target market. So what are the benefits that your solution provides your ideal target market? So another great way to create content is to discuss these benefits that the client receives when they use your product or your service. Because people want remember we talked about, people want the desired outcome, and they want to receive the benefits when they buy the product or service that's going to get them that desired outcome. So for example, if the desired outcome is to be financially free, then the benefits to your ideal target market may be so that they can take the family on that month-long vacation like I talked about before, or that their children can go to college without having a huge debt load when they finish their degree. So those are some benefits of being financially free. Financially free is the desired outcome. The benefits of reaching that is you can take your family on a month-long vacation. You can buy a car without financing. You can pay for your kids' college without them going into debt. So those are some benefits to becoming financially free, which your product or your service can solve for them. Now, the fourth thing is overcoming objections. Now, this is usually when anyone is thinking of buying a product or service where there's questions of doubt, objections that come along with it, or the infamous what if scenarios that go along with the decision to purchase. And in one of my businesses, the real estate investing space, that what if scenario just comes up constantly. What if? And you can what if yourself to death, and you'll never ever take action. So what you want to do is you want to overcome these objections in a lot of your content. Now, you can handle these objections if you can handle these before the person has a chance to ask them, or to say them, then there's really a good chance that you're going to sell more of your product or you're going to sell more of your service. So you want to overcome the objections before the people actually have a chance to ask or come up with that objection. Now, a great example of this is if you create a series of myth-busting videos around your product, your service, or your industry. Now, for example, I was working with a client who helped people move their money offshore. He was right into being offshore, having multiple passports, being able to live in multiple countries, all of which is completely legal. But the government frowns upon it because the government wants to control you. But some of the biggest myths around being offshore are that for that specific topic is you had to be rich, which was a myth because you didn't have to be rich. That you had to be crooked or conduct illegal activities. Well, that's a huge myth. There's a lot of legitimate business people, a lot of politicians that are actually doing stuff offshore that is completely legal and legitimate, or that it's illegal for you to do it yourself, and it's really not. So these are some of the biggest myths. So if you can do a series of myth-busting videos around your industry, your product, your service, that can go a long way for one, creating your content, and for two, for educating your audience and helping establish or build your authority so that these people are going to know you, they're going to like you, they're going to trust you, and they're going to want to come and do business with you. Now, the fifth and final piece for creating your content that I come up with, I'm sure there's lots more, but by sticking with these 5 different strategies for creating your content, you're going to be able to connect with your ideal target market and position yourself in such a way that you're not going to come across as salesy or pushy when you're delivering your offer. Now, the fifth and final one is interviews. So conducting interviews of experts in your industry or your field is a great way to create content, and it also positions you as the expert or the authority by borrowing from the credibility of the people or the authority of the people who have already have influence or authority in that marketplace or that space. Now, these interviews may also be about some transformational journeys from some of your clients. Now, don't mistake that as endorsements. These are really, endorsements are what people commonly call testimonials, where, oh, you should use Sally's haircutting service. Sally's the best. I went to Sally and she just made me look so beautiful, and where it's all about Sally, the business. But really what you want is in a good testimonial, what you want to do is you want to just be a single piece of that person's story. So you're just like one key ingredient to the story that caused the change or the transformation in that person's life. So the interview or the story is about their challenges, where they were, the struggles that they've had, the struggles that they face with respect to the product, service, or the problems that they had, and then they were searching for a solution. They came across your solution, and by implementing it into their life or their business or whatever, things changed dramatically to the point where they are starting to live the life they've always dreamed. So it's basically the story, their transformation story, but you're just one piece, but you're one vital piece of that transformation story. So using those types of testimonials, those transformation stories of clients can be very impactful. 1, for creating content, 2, for elevating your authority, and 3, for I don't know what 3 is. I was on a roll with 1, 2, and there's like, oh, there's got to be a third one. But so for elevating your authority, for creating content, for establishing you as the expert, and basically being a vital piece in the person's journey or the person's transformation, because a lot of your potential clients or potential avatars will see that video and it's like, I'm just like that person in the video. Now, if that person hired Winnie to help her, I'm probably thinking that if I hired Winnie, she would help me too. So you just want to be the vital piece of their journey and show how you've helped them. So from those 5 different strategies, shouldn't be hard at all to come up with 1 hour of content per week for a period of at least 15 weeks. So, but spend the time up front to map it out, what it is you want to talk about, and think about the big picture of your ideal target market's desired outcome. So you're laying out this content blueprint and think about their desired outcome and constantly talk about the outcome, the benefits in your content to keep planting the seeds so that when the time comes and you're putting in the offer, or you're going to do your offer, your pitch, it's less pushy, it's less salesy, because you've been planting the seeds all along, and then you just constantly get the harvest. You constantly get the harvest. Okay, so that is about creating content. So just before I move on to the next one, I'm just going to do some shout outs. I see that there's some comments in the field. We've got a few people that joined us. Gail says, sorry, John, you just said politicians use offshore accounts. That proves there's something wrong with it. Yeah, well, not all politicians are shady. I mean, there's many, but they aren't all shady. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Gail. Maybe I'll keep that from the. Maybe I'll cut that piece out, just because most people don't like politicians. But so if you guys are just joining me, thanks for the comments. Please like, share, show me some love. Share this with your friends on your Facebook feed. And if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, choices, and options, which really starts with attracting more clients than you can physically handle yourself right now in your business. That's what happens when you really accelerate your authority. So here's one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. Now, this component is one of the main reasons why I talked about in the previous component, creating video for your content as opposed to some other medium. Because from the video, you can repurpose it in so many different ways and take advantage of that 1 hour. So if you're doing 1 hour a week, you can take advantage of that 1 hour by repurposing the video in so many different ways. I'm going to get into many of those ways here very shortly. So if you were to spend the time to create each piece of content separately that I'm going to discuss, then you would spend all your time on content and very little time where it matters the most, which is on distributing the content and engaging with your audience, your prospects. So for repurposing your content, you're going to want to reach out and hire some key outsourcers that can help you with this aspect of your business, because this is a very time-consuming and it's a very task-oriented aspect of your business. So these are things that you can outsource to other people and have them do this for you, because you want to focus your time on the creating the 1 hour of creating the content, and spend your time on the engagement piece. So the repurposing of your content is not where you want to spend the most amount of your time. So this is the area that you actually want to outsource. So here's how I break it down. So remember, we started with that 1 hour of content. So last week you created that 1 hour of content. So here's how it breaks down. So you send that 1 hour of content, whether it be 1 full hour or 15 minutes. I'm just going to call it 1 hour total. So you send that video content and you send it out to be transcribed. So you need to find a good transcriptionist. It's crucial to have a good transcriptionist where, because this is the basis of a lot of the repurposed content is going to come from the transcription of the video. Now, you can generally hire outsourcers on many of the different outsourcing sites that will transcribe the content and get it back to you, in a timely fashion, and it's, done very well. So you can find those outsourcers on a variety of different outsourcing sites. So you want to find one and you want to work with them on a consistent basis. Maybe you make a deal with them. Say, I'm going to provide you with X number of minutes of content every single week. What kind of deal can you give me? And generally you can negotiate a good deal. I actually did that to find one of my outsourcers. I basically had 5 or 6 different outsourcers quoting me on the amount of content that I was going to deliver. Now, the second thing is you're going to want to find a video editor who can artfully cut, edit, and put together great works from the video that you created. Remember, you get that 1 hour of content. Now, you're going to want to either chop up that 1 hour of content, or it may need to be edited. So the video itself can be turned into a video podcast. So you're going to want to turn it into a video podcast. So if you're doing, that's why it's, having video that's at least 15 minutes in length, or, definitely preferred. It's podcast. You want to keep it, anywhere from 15 minutes to 60 minutes, somewhere around there is a good amount of time for a podcast. So if you're doing 4 15-minute videos, then basically you can turn those into 4 different podcasts. Or if you're doing one hour video like I am, I'm just going to turn that into one podcast. So it's not going to be an hour long, because we're going to edit out pieces. We're going to put it together, make it sort of fine tune it a little bit. So you're going to get your video editor to take your 1 hour video content and cut it up and turn it into a video podcast. So that's the second type of repurposing. Now, the third type of repurposing is that video can be cut into smaller segments or clips that can be used to drive home a point. Now, as I talked about in this specific 1 hour segment that I'm doing right now, actually it's going to be over 1 hour, I'm actually talking about 7 components of the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. So I'm actually going to cut this up. So there's going to be 7 specific clips where I talk about each component separately. So my videographer is going to take this, he's going to chop it up. So all I did was I delivered the 1 hour, and I'm sending it to these outsourcers, and they're actually they're doing the work for me to create this content, all this extra content, by repurposing it. So these videos are, I'll need an intro and a bumper, which I'll just have to record once to let the viewer know what I'm going to be talking about, and then what call of action I want them to take at the end. For example, on these clips, my call to action could be subscribe to my YouTube channel, or download my free report, things like that. You always want to have a call to action in the video clips. Now, remember we had the videographer in number 2, he created the video podcast from the video. So he's actually just going to strip away the audio, and he's going to turn that into an audio podcast. So that's a different medium altogether. So by pulling the audio out of the video, now he's got another medium that is being used and being distributed out there. Now, the fifth thing is this transcribed document can be turned into a blog article that has embedded calls to action within the article itself. So finding a good outsourcer who understands blog writing and copywriting for the sole purpose to bring someone to take action. It's a little bit tougher to find those people than just finding a transcriptionist, but they are out there. So finding somebody that can write, take the transcription, write a blog article in a copywriting format that's going to drive the reader to take some sort of action by having embedded actions, by clicking on a segment of words where they can download things like that. So when you find that good outsourcer that can actually do that, be willing to pay them and keep them, because you don't want to let them go, because they're not that easy to find, but you can find them. It just takes a little bit of trial and error. So number 6, for every blog, video, podcast, audio podcast, video clip, etc., you want to have a series of social media messages, tweets, posts created that drive people to want to view, listen, or read what it is you're talking about. Now, this is generally going to be done by the outsourcer, again, who's doing the writing. So the person that's writing your blog will actually tie in to the blog, to the video, to the podcast, tweets, posts, things like that are actually going to drive people to those blogs or to the videos or to the podcasts. So having your writer create those is important. Number 7, you want to get yourself a good graphic design outsourcer as well, one who can create the images for your podcast, blog posts, social posts, and be used in your videos, things like that. So having an outsourcer that you can go to on a regular basis for creating your graphics is all part of the program. You also want to have number 8, you want to have a writer to create notes for the videos. Typically, it's the same writer. I have the one writer that, she sort of writes the blogs, and she sort of writes all of the stuff. So you can find, if you find one good writer, you want your writing to be consistent. You want it to be sound like you, so you give them samples so they can write similar to how you write, so it's kind of like your voice. So having the notes created for your videos and placed on your website that's optimized for keywords and speak to your ideal target market, as well as notes that accompany the videos excuse me, on YouTube, they'll do the same thing. So you want to have two different notes you want the notes to be different, so the internet doesn't think that you're just sending out the same content over and over to many sites. And ninth is you want the writer to take the content from all the transcriptions from all of the videos that you do. So if you're doing 1 hour a week for 15 weeks, and you've planned out the videos and you've planned it all out with regards to frequently asked questions, should ask questions, the benefits, all the things that I talked about in one of the previous components, then what you can do is you can put together the transcriptions from a lot of those videos and actually piece together a book. So your writer that you have, your outsourced writer, can take the transcriptions and then they can put it together in a book format. And then that book, you send it, they'll send it to an editor to get it sort of massaged and fixed up in grammar, punctuation, and really turn it into a really great book. And it's a book that will actually lead your ideal target market or your prospect to the conclusion they need to work with you, because you've actually planned out all of your content in that manner. So, and then you just, it's all set to go, and you send it up to Amazon and you publish your book. So that's the 9 different ways of repurposing your content. So you can see there's a lot of work that goes into repurposing that one video that you filmed. So you spent that 1 hour to create that video. So you're going to want to have some outsourcers lined up in place so that all you do is that 1 hour of video, and then the outsourcers take that and then they do all of this other stuff. They do all these tasks, freeing you up for engaging with your ideal target market or prospecting or talking about the content that's being distributed out there in the various different platforms, which we're going to talk about. So having a system in place so that all you need to do is to create that 1 hour of video a week, so the rest of the things are all looked after, is very key to not only your success but your sanity as well. So just before I move on to the next one, I'm just going to give some shout outs. And Joe joined us. Hi Joe, hope things are going well with you. Kimberly joined. Hi Kimberly, hope you guys are doing well. And if you're just joining us, I'm sharing with you for the very first time the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, most entrepreneurs have a desired outcome of freedom, choices, and options, which starts with attracting more clients than they can physically handle themselves in their business. Now, that's what happens when you accelerate your authority. Now, here's one of the 7 key components on how you can deliver on accelerating your authority in only 15 hours. And in this one, we're talking and getting into the distribution and the engagement of your content. So another major piece of the authority acceleration formula is the distribution and engagement. Now, if you recall from the formula, for every 1 hour of content creation that you do, you need to spend 10 hours distributing that content and engaging with the people who are your ideal target market. Now, we'll get to a point where following up, thanking, and engaging with every single person who engages with your stuff is really not going to be possible if you start to build your followers, people on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all your social followings. If you start to get too many followers, well, I don't think there's anything as too many, but if you get to the point where you just can't handle all the follow-up or engaging for all the thanks of friending you or whatever, then what you need to do is focus on the biggest influencers, the most visible, and people with the most authority first. So focus on them first. Now, these are the people who will actually help you quickly build your audience even larger just by interacting with them on their feed. So just through association and communication, they're going to actually help you build your audience even bigger. Now, the main reason for the repurpose of your content is so that you can hit a variety of different mediums and reach a greater audience. Now, it also enables you to be on a variety of different platforms and drive traffic from one platform to another platform. And that's called cross-channel marketing. That's a phrase that my coach Mike Koenigs really utilized several years ago with his marketing system. Today, people consume content in a lot of different ways, and they're spending time on different platforms. So you may have a lot of your ideal target markets on one platform, but there may be others on these other platforms that don't use this platform. So you need to make sure that you're putting content and distributing content on all the different platforms, but not only that, but in different mediums as well. So I'm just going to run through a few of the different platforms and a few of the different strategies. So the first one obviously is probably one of the biggest ones. It's Facebook with over 1 billion users and its platform to get, you need to get everything on there. However, it's now more of a pay to get attention model with only 3 to 5% of your followers seeing your posts unless you actually pay for it. However, they are giving huge attention to Facebook Live right now. So creating as much of your video live and streaming it through Facebook will get you a much wider reach and audience than it ever did before. So be sure to be active on any posts that you get, that you put your stuff on. Just be active, engage with people. Now the next thing is Twitter. So well-crafted posts with relevant hashtags are crucial. The disadvantage is that the more people somebody follows, the more congested their feed is. So having a strategy to post multiple times a day with a variety of different posts, so not posting the same thing over and over. You want to post a variety of different posts, but all promoting the same thing a variety of different ways can increase the number of people that you reach and who actually take action. Click on that link, go to your website, go to your YouTube video, go to your Facebook, and take that action that you want them to take. So be sure to thank the people that either follow you or retweet or engage with your stuff. Seek out and follow people that have similar interests and engage with their stuff, especially if they're high influencers. They'll probably return the favor and follow you and engage with you as well. Now the next one is Instagram. Getting well-crafted images for your content is crucial for this platform. So having that graphic designer create some great images is very important when it comes to Instagram. So you need to have eye-catching images as well as short videos that really get people's attention. So be sure to search relevant hashtags for great posts that you can like and comment on, and create some dialogue and engagement as well. Ask questions, have calls, and even have calls to action in your posts. Now the next one is Pinterest. These are also need some great images. It's very vital. This is highly targeted towards women. So if your focus is on an all-male ideal target market, this may not be the best use of your time using Pinterest. But if you are going to use Pinterest, images are the key. Attractive, eye-catching. Lists are great. Infographics go very well with Pinterest. LinkedIn is another platform that you can take advantage of the LinkedIn's article section by publishing blog articles that are, but you don't want to publish the same articles that you're publishing on your website because LinkedIn's actually looking for unique content. But it's a great place to get attention and grow your authority amongst people if you're especially in the B2B space or you're targeting professionals in specific niches. Now you want to join some groups in there. You want to engage in these groups and post your content that you can also build your authority in and help expand your reach, and try to drive people from those groups to either your YouTube or your website or Facebook or wherever your content takes them. Now the next one is YouTube. Since Google owns YouTube and you're creating videos and repurposing, this is where you want to keep them. Getting people from your other platforms to your YouTube channel to subscribe is a great way for them to be informed when your next video is released. And using keyword strategies when you're titling your videos as well as a description and putting tags in there can be very effective when people are searching for problems that they want solved, because your video can come up and help them solve those problems. Now the next platform is iTunes. That you want to have both your video and your audio podcasts on iTunes. You want to have a great graphic, great intro, and a good show. That'll go a long way. So make it easy for people to subscribe to your podcast channel. They can do it right from your website or even some of your social pages. Make it easy for people just to click and subscribe. Now, constantly create messages driving people to the latest episode from other platforms. So from Twitter, you're driving them to your podcasts, Facebook, Instagram. You're always cross-channel marketing and driving people to other platforms. Encourage them to subscribe and constantly promote your platform on those other your podcast on those other platforms as mentioned. Now, Snapchat, this is really an up-and-comer, is growing in popularity and getting a lot of attention right now. So strategically using it to drive traffic to your other platforms for people to check out and consume is that's really your play there. Being a good storyteller in a very short amount of time and have a message that tells a story is really key, not only here but on a lot of your other posts and engagements as well. You have very little time to get someone's attention on these platforms, so capture it, hold their attention. Those are the keys to your success there. Now, there are other platforms, but those are the ones. Those are the major ones that I'm just going to cover right now. Technology is ever changing. You need to be flexible to adapt, change, or maneuver with the times. Okay, so that covers the 7 key components that make up the Authority Acceleration Blueprint and also the Authority Acceleration formula more in depth. Okay, as mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I understand the desired outcome for many entrepreneurs, because I'm an entrepreneur, and that outcome is freedom, options, and having choices. Freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, and not have to worry about time or money, and the ability to select the options or the choices that you want. That's what a lot of entrepreneurs are really their desired outcome. That's what they want from being an entrepreneur. I also know that from experience that achieving that outcome usually comes in stages. And one of the very first stages of creating freedom, options, and choices in your life is to build and grow your business to where you have clients lined up to work with you, all willing to pay you just about any price that you're asking. Now, it also gets you to the point where you have the financial resources you need to create leverage for your business. Leveraging others' time by hiring the right people to handle different aspects of your business. Leveraging your money by having that money to invest in expansion or to invest in alternative sources of income or to invest it to further grow your wealth and your legacy. So if desired outcome for you is freedom, it all starts with attracting more clients than you can physically handle yourself right now. And that happens when you accelerate your authority. Now, to deliver on your desired outcome, you can do it. Do what you're doing right now, and it'll happen in its due time. Or you can accelerate your authority, and in 100 days or less, be positioned as the person your ideal clients need to work with, fast-tracking your path to that financial freedom. Now, making the decision to fast-track your path to your desired outcome has 2 options. First, you take my plan that I've laid out here, and you start implementing it today, and you go ahead and implement it yourself. Finding the right outsourcers, building your team, managing the entire process and the people to ensure the success of the blueprint. Or the second option is to work with someone who already has a complete team in place and is able to manage the entire process of the blueprint and guides you through creating the 15 hours of content. Basically, all you have to do is show up, be competent in your field of expertise, and confident in yourself. So if option 2 is appealing to you and you want to be part of an exclusive beta group that's starting early in 2017, I'm only able to take on 10 clients for this exclusive beta group where basically everything is done for them. They just show up and we work with them to actually just create the 15 hours of content. And over the next 100 days, all of that content is delivered and executed for them. So if you're interested in potentially being part of that exclusive beta group, like I said, there's only 10 spots available. Then it's by application only. So you need to connect with me through my website, johnamccabe.com, or you need to leave a comment on this Facebook or private message me through Facebook if you're interested in being a part of the exclusive beta group where we're going to execute your authority acceleration for you. So all you need to do is show up, be competent, be confident, and give us 15 hours of your time, and the rest is going to be done for you. So that's it. I'm over time for today's John A. McCabe show, but I want to thank you guys very much for sticking with me and for watching the entire show. There's a lot of information there. I delivered a lot of content. So go back, watch this, go through it, get the information, the seven key components for your own blueprint. And if you're interested, if you want to be one of the 10 people that are part of the exclusive beta group that's going to start early in 2017, so early next year, you need to contact me right away. I need to set things up, so I want to have the people committed before the end of October. So you have till the end of October to be one of the 10 exclusive beta group that goes through the first session of the Authority Acceleration Blueprint, where we actually do it all for you. You show up competent and confident and give us 15 hours, and the rest is done for you. So for that, I'm going to leave you today, and be sure to join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for another edition of John A. McCabe, the John A. McCabe Show. So hope to see you tomorrow, and have yourself a great day, and I look forward to that. And just let me do run this production myself. So have yourself a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.